Just so you're aware, this is the second part to an ongoing series of videos, giving an honest take on the real issues with Starfield. It's not necessary to watch the first video in order to follow along with this one, but I do recommend watching it, if for no other reason than having more context with some of the ideas that I present here. The problems I'll be addressing are slightly different than those that I addressed previously. Only this time, it's a lack of follow-through and thematic consistency that I'll be pointing out. I'll start off small and then show how these little problems get bigger and more egregious over time. So, I'm feeling adventurous, and in the spirit of exploration, I decide to land my spaceship on a randomly selected moon near Varun Kai. I explore the surface, and it's actually quite breathtaking. The surface is very unique, unlike any moon I've ever seen in game before, and I'm having a great time here. After fighting off a brood of Varun zealots, collecting their loot, and hopping into the Rev 8, I'm very immersed. I then happen upon a crashed ship. Intriguing, I thought. Let's see what's inside. And unfortunately, this is where it all goes wrong. Did I have any gripes about the ship being mostly vacant? Nope. Were there any issues that I had about not finding any good loot aboard? Also no. What about the fact that the ship, oddly, had familiar habitats that I've already seen 1,000 times before coming to Varun territory? Nah. Couldn't care less. Well then, what's the problem here? After all the exploring, all the skirmishes, and all the surface scanning, I made the mistake of assuming that my ultimate reward was the abandoned Varun spaceship. Unfortunately for me, I'm not authorized to pilot this vessel, and my response to this is, says who? Now don't get me wrong, I acknowledge the fact that the video game specifically told me that I was exploring a crashed ship. However, that doesn't remedy the situation I'm presenting here. The character that's being thwarted at the moment has access to ship parts, is a high-ranking member of the Freestar Rangers, a member of the Trackers Alliance, has a C-class piloting skill, has max level in security skill, and 300 plus hours in ship repair. Exactly how much more authorization do I need? As far as I could tell, from a thorough visual search of the vessel, there's no visible damage that suggests the ship is beyond repair. The internal power still appears to be working, and I believe my character has every possible resource needed to effectively address this problem. But no, I just can't commandeer this vessel for some reason. Why not? Is this ship a hidden quest item? Is it related to some kind of storyline? Do I need some sort of keycard? The game never gives any satisfactory answers to any of these nagging questions. It could just as easily be yes to all of them, or no to all of them. I'll likely never find out, and to me, that's unacceptable. I've seen on numerous occasions what a spaceship that's beyond repair looks like. The ship in question doesn't meet that criteria. The point I'm making here is that you can't possibly expect me to get excited again or place the same kind of investment if every time I find something interesting again, like a crashed Varun spaceship, the level of engagement feels apathetic. I've already accepted that my time and energy isn't respected, and now it becomes nothing more than a race to the bottom. None of the small, nitpicky annoyances were a problem at first, but now that I'm agitated, every little slight gets magnified. In Starfield, there always seems to be a looming want for jurisdiction. Who has it? Why and how? Then, what measures are in place to enforce said jurisdiction? Is it just whoever has the most guns? Or am I missing something? I most certainly hope it's not the case, and I have, because that'd make most in-game factions no better than Varun zealots. What benefits, specialty skills, or long-term goals do the factions in Starfield have? Excluding House Varun in the DLC, I hear what many of the members of these factions are telling me. They oftentimes say a lot. But in what ways are they acting on any of their intended goals in game? Show me. Don't tell me. Constellation, for example, is a collection of space explorers who specialize in space traversal and seeking the many mysteries that are out there in the visible universe. But from my perspective, in game, all they ever do is sit around the lodge, drinking hot chocolate, waiting for my character to recruit them to engage in any meaningful adventures. Why? Constellation was Constellation before I ever got here. So why aren't they actively doing anything? I get why Barrett may want to slow down a bit, but what about solo runner Andrasia? Where's Sam Coe's alleged ship that Cora keeps going on about? Aren't they space cowboys? I mean, how cool would it be to look for Sam Coe, only to find that he's taking Cora for lunch at Dawn's Roost or the Whetstone? Space is supposed to be massive. There's no excuse for things to feel so constrained. Jurisdiction should be decided by who can do what, where they can do it, and why they can do it. What makes any of these organizations exceptionally different from any other? Where's the nuance between locations? These factions don't seem to give any of the locations they occupy any kind of unique character or identity. We need more locations like Dazra, and we need them desperately. Recreational substances being legal in certain parts of the galaxy just isn't enough. What specific powers or duties do the Freestar Rangers have that an organization like the Trackers Alliance doesn't? What about the UC Vanguard? If the Freestar Rangers had the power to arrest, seize property, or detain, perhaps that'd be a good start. But as far as I'm aware, they don't. Unless quest related, all I ever see is a bunch of empty jail cells, and on the other hand, perpetually filled bounty terminals. What makes this worse is that there's an entire, restricted terramorph-infested planet closely guarded by the UC Marines and the UC Vanguard, but no penal colony for the criminal population? Even though there's entire fleets of crime organizations and murderous religious fanatics at large? What's really going on here? And who's really responsible for this mismanagement of political resources? Many of Starfield's factions and the individual characters in them continue this trend of missed opportunities. I mean, besides being able to participate in a very specific storyline quest, what does a faction like the Freestar Rangers actually do that's unique to them? In other words, what unique executive powers do they wield? What special authorities do they have? If most of the law enforcing factions in game can retrieve stolen goods and contraband from me, why can't I do it to actual criminals? I'm a Freestar Ranger. Why can't I arrest anyone? Why does nearly every encounter end up with someone dead? How can you ever build a solid case to catch the higher ups if you kill all your leads and you never get to submit any evidence? So look, about that starship again. I fully understand that the prompt is telling me that I'm not authorized to obtain this ship, but that's just not good enough. My character has too many high-level skills and accolades that say otherwise. So unless there's something special about that specific ship, I should be able to commandeer it. What your character is able to do in game, what benefits they receive from the organizations you join, and the individuals in that organization all matter. Empty prison cells, overflowing bounty missions, no penal colonies. There's a continuous lack of thematic consistency and general cohesion in Starfield. So even if I wanted to respect an item like the Freestar Ranger badge, if I'm being totally honest, I can't, because it doesn't do anything.